Everyone, so today I'm going to be testing out Sendinblue and getting set up with their platform so that we can take a look at uh, how easy it is to build out email automation sequences, how good the templates are, and generally just get a bit of a feel for the platform. Now, I will say that I've used Sendinblue in the past. We used to use it for a venture about 4 or 5 years ago. Back then, Sendinblue was far more kind of focused around transactional email, and over time they've sort of gradually expanded to be more what they are today, which is kind of an all-in-one marketing platform aimed at small businesses, covering email marketing, SMS, and also still doing the transactional email. So first of all, I'm going to save us all a couple of minutes, and I've signed up for an account. It took a couple of minutes. Didn't need to enter a credit card, which was nice, but I'm now here after kind of entering all my information. I'm taking to this page where I need to choose my plan. So I'm going to go for the free one, but just to kind of give, I guess, anyone watching this a bit of an insight into the pricing, it looks very typical to me. This seems very on par with most other email platforms. The only thing I will point out is that all of these plans are based on unlimited contacts. Now, that might sound like a really positive thing, but it means that the pricing is now based on the number of emails that you send per month. So depending on, if you're contacting your list once or twice a month, this might economically make more sense than, say, an active campaign or a HubSpot, where it's more based on the number of contacts. But if you are kind of sending out emails daily or quite often, then price-wise, this might actually work out quite expensive. That's one thing I don't love about Sendinblue, is this kind of per email pricing, because it kind of, I guess, there's a pro and con to that, but it sort of makes you have to sort of think about, if we're sending out more emails, it could push our pricing up. So not a huge fan of that, but it is what it is. So we're going to continue with the free plan. And I like that I've not been kind of sent into, trying to kind of get my credit card. I can just log straight in. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is import some contacts. So nice and easy, hopefully. We can click over here on contacts, and hopefully, yeah, we've got an import contacts option. So I'm just going to upload a CSV file, one that I prepared earlier. And here we go. Let's see how this goes. So this is just a bunch of dummy data. We should, if this works well, we should see that it imports 20 contacts. So that's fine. It's recognized the email. A little bit lazy, given that I've given it a title name that it's not actually mapped its name. And also that's kind of frustrating that there's no option to sort of have first name, last name together. So I would need to now go to my CSV and break that into 2 columns. Again, not the end of the world, but a little bit annoying, particularly if I've got a lot of data. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new column for company. And for now, I'm just going to map this all to first name. So let's see how this goes. Confirm your list. Okie dokie. Okay, sorry, I got a bit confused there. So confirm your list, update the attributes, fine. These are all test data, so I can click that. Perfect, nice and nice and smooth. So here we can see all the contacts have been imported nicely. Hopefully I can click onto any contact and I can see a bit of information. Yeah, company name, email, etc. So this is everything that I would hope and expect to see at this point. No surprises there, so that's good. So before we go into campaigns and automation, we'll just do a bit more exploring around here. So Sendinblue, it looks like I can create forms, which is nice. I know Sendinblue are based in France, so I'm pleased to see that we've got some sort of good validation of GDPR compliance. So I'm just going to create a test form. Really what I'm looking for here is, does this form look good enough that I would kind of be happy to use it on my website? So let's say, okay, that's nice. So we've got a kind of built-in GDPR opt-in, which is good. Fine. Okay, cool. And then this is all pretty straightforward. I can kind of edit this all nicely. Can I change the text? Yes, I can. Perfect. Okay, so that's everything I kind of want to see. Brilliant. Lists, so I can segment my contacts by different lists, which is good. That's, again, going to be pretty important, particularly for a business like ours where we have different ventures, and we might want to say create a different list for one product compared to another, or we might just want to segment our main user list into, say, people who have bought products versus people who are just prospects. Similarly, around that, I'd like to see if there is some kind of tagging mechanism. So can I tag a user? I'm not seeing anything kind of jump out at me. Maybe it's more something that I would do at a automation level. So we'll come back to that one and see a bit later on, is there a way to tag users? Okay, so I think that's all pretty straightforward. I'm not super blown away. There's a lot of things that I'm not seeing here. There's nothing around kind of lead scoring. I don't feel like I could really use this as a sort of kind of heavyweight CRM at this point, but maybe I'm missing something. And I'll just kind of click here to see if there's anything obvious that I'm missing. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you have to turn on the sales CRM. So let's just have a quick look at that, because I know quite a few of you will be interested in having a look at the CRM. Okay, that's really helpful actually. So if you want to kind of have these extra features, which presumably are paid, you have to kind of go turn them on, and then they're accessible at the top. So let's just see. Okay, so you don't actually have to upgrade. You can try it on the trial, which is good. So can I associate a company with a contact? Because I just added a bunch of contacts and I actually had a column for companies. So what I'm curious about now is, yeah, so how I did it is exactly how you should not do it. And it looks like you want to associate. So, okay, so I'd have to create a company first and then go back and associate it. I've now also got segments, which is kind of what I was hoping to see with tags. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to campaigns and have a look at campaigns and automation now, and then we'll come back and have a look at some of the segmentation stuff once we've seen what's available in automations. So initially, what have we got down the side? We've got email campaigns, which presumably would show everything I've done historically. I've got templates, which I'm curious to see how good these templates are. Some general reporting, which looks relatively basic, if I'm honest. Again, I don't know if there's kind of like an additional app that we can install to get a bit more data. But this looks like everything that I kind of need at a basic level, but there's nothing sort of, particularly, impressive here. And then what have we got? So a few kind of additional extras. So we can set up the authentication, SPF, DKIM, and that would mean DMARC as well. Webhooks, that's really good. So if we want to send events into Sendinblue from apps, which is something that we do quite a lot, that's really important. Conversions, great. That presumably would maybe add a bit more data onto the statistics, and going to be really important, particularly for e-commerce sites. Unsubscribe pages, sure. Google Analytics, fine. Okay, so pretty much as we'd expect there. So I'm going to go ahead and create an email, and really what I'm kind of looking for here is the quality of the templates. So Marcus's test campaign. Let's create an A/B test. Why not? Because okay, so we have to upgrade to get A/B testing. That's fair enough. Testing. That's nice. So like you can see it in context. Let's design the email. So we've got some general sort of basic layouts, which is good. And then our templates. So these look reasonably good. Yeah, I think for a lot of businesses, these would be pretty usable with a little bit of customization. So there's only 42, which isn't huge, but also you only really want there to be a lot of templates if the templates are really kind of quite good. There's nothing wrong with these, but equally, I feel like with all of them, I would probably want to do a bit of, get a designer involved to improve them. So this is all kind of nice and straightforward. So it's all just sort of a nice WYSIWYG editor. I'm just going to kind of drag some things around, just kind of see if everything is kind of as I hope. Yeah, okay, so I can kind of adjust the width. All pretty standard options of what we can add in. Can we bring in RSS? That would be quite helpful, I think, particularly to pull in latest blog posts. Doesn't look like it, but I presume with HTML we could insert maybe an RSS iframe. Content design. Okay. Yeah, so all in all, I think the templates are kind of okay. I've definitely seen better, but nothing particularly bad about it. Tracking, so perfect. So that would just add UTM tracking codes. Yeah, fine. So let's move on to automation. So how does Sendinblue do this? So looks like we have to kind of wait for this to set up. Okay, so we're onto workflows. So I like that they've got this kind of template gallery. We can sort of start off with a few kind of pre-built campaigns. They look pretty basic, if I'm honest. There's nothing. It's a bit catch-22 because if they get too complicated, then you end up sort of having to spend quite a lot of time rejigging them and making sort of fit your business. So I think this is more kind of just for general inspiration of the kind of things you could automate rather than it being a sort of fast tracking the actual content. So yeah, not too bad, but again, that could be a little bit better. So I'm just going to start with a welcome message workflow. Let's just see how this looks. So it takes a couple seconds for it to import. Okay, so we need to assign it to a list. So let's do the list that I imported. We don't need the contacts to wait. Okay, let's do 0. 0 is not allowed. Okay, so arbitrarily, people need to wait for 1 minute. Select an email template or create a new template. Can I just go? Okay, so a contact is added to the list. They then wait for 1 minute, and then we send them this email. So if I click here, hopefully I can edit this email. Okay, so that's kind of annoying. Instead of just opening up the email for me to edit, there we go. Okay, so you have to click the text rather than the edit button to edit the content. So cool, we've got some merge tags, which is good. We can test on mobile, which is nice. HTML code, plain, perfect. This is nice, being able to test it as a recipient is a really, really helpful, particularly when you're using lots of merge tags and you kind of want to catch errors. That's really helpful to be able to test it as different recipients. Yeah, that's all fairly standard, I think. It feels very easy to use. I think what I'm kind of sensing from Sendinblue is this is not the most advanced. It's not, there's nothing kind of particularly blowing me away by any of this. But it is really straightforward. Like I wouldn't need to, teach my team how to use this. We wouldn't need to do much onboarding. It's pretty straightforward. In terms of the steps that we can add to a workflow, so can we do split A/B testing? Yes, we can. Okay, that's really, really helpful because if you want to build out a workflow and then build into it lots of different A/B tests, then a really nice thing you can do is you can kind of leave this workflow in the background, knowing that lots of tests are running. And then when you come back to it in a few months, you can see your winners, the losers. And so you have this kind of nice automated way of ensuring that your workflows are kind of optimizing and getting better over time. I mentioned previously about tags, so I'm just curious to see what my options are here. So we can do conditional, like if else conditions, we can add weights, general kind of contact list stuff. Payment requests, that's kind of interesting. SMS, is that push notification? Looks like that's just an email, so not push notification. We can call webhooks, which is good. So let's try update contact attribute. So I'm not seeing anything out of the box here that looks like a tag. That's not the end of the world. We can sort of essentially do that with a bit of a workaround, because I guess you could create a contact attribute and then just essentially pre-fill that. So that's not the end of the world, but kind of surprising because tagging and segments kind of feels like a fairly like common concept within email marketing. So I'm surprised to not see that here, particularly if there's kind of a bit of a push around the CRM side of things. So if we go back to the CRM, I just want to sort of get a bit of a better understanding for how we might sort of see, what the sort of stage a company is at. So if we create a test company, and let's say it's Gavin, add time. So can I create? Yep. So it looks like maybe I need to create a deal for that company. Here we go. So we have then deal stages. So let's call this Gavin Co, who's qualifying, and let's do that. So that's nice. So it's kind of this sort of Kanban vertical style CRM. It's a bit lightweight. Again, maybe there's kind of ways to customize this a little bit, but there's not a huge amount here. I would say this CRM would probably work fine if you're a small team, a small agency where you're managing less than kind of 30 or so deals, where it can sort of nicely work in this format. But where you've got multiple team members, where you've got a few more complexities, I imagine this would possibly struggle a little bit, or need a kind of fair bit of customization to get it working well. So we're not going to dive too much into transactional email. I'm just going to kind of click here so that if interested, you can kind of have a bit of a look at sort of what stuff's available here. All seems pretty straightforward, but I am going to go back to the add more app stage just so we can kind of see what's available, what's kind of a little bit different. So I'm actually going to flick pretty much all these on. So that's really cool that you can do WhatsApp campaigns. That feels, that's not something I know that everyone offers. Transactional SMS campaigns, I think presumably you can trigger that from the automations. Facebook ads, we've got landing pages, inbox conversations, web push, meetings. Okay, and then just on the integration side, so only 16 integrations. So I presume, like most companies, Sendinblue, in fact, I know that they integrate with Zapier. So you would be able to send most of the data that you need into Sendinblue via Zapier. But it looks like we've got a couple of integrations that are native. And it seems like they're heavily focused around essentially trying to make it easier to migrate to Sendinblue. The fact that it's pretty much all other email marketing tools and a couple of CRMs, indicates quite heavily that this is more about helping you get your contact data into Sendinblue. So we can just click on one just to kind of make sure that I'm being accurate with that. Let's just say active campaign users, create integration. Yeah, cool. Okay, so you can select your list, map the data, and then basically pull those contacts straight into Sendinblue. So before we wrap up, I'll just kind of go into a few of the other new features that have been added. So we've got inbox. So this looks like essentially a group support desk that you can use among your team. And I would expect that as you get emails coming in from support and different emails, it would add them as contacts that you can then then kind of email either through transactional or automation or standard campaigns. Meetings, presumably again what it says on the teams says on the tin. So just sending. Okay, so more about kind of booking pages. This is a bit more like Calendly, I guess, where people can create a link and they can book meetings with you. So that's quite nice. Can you do paid ones? Is this like Acuity scheduling? No. Okay, so it seems more like Calendly, less like Acuity, where you could sort of pay to book a session. Conversations, I'm guessing this is live chat. Yeah, okay, cool. So you add a thing to your website, a sort of chatbot, and then presumably, yeah, you can kind of communicate with them. So you've got Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and chat widget for the website. Can you create workflows? Does not look like it. Okay, so it's a fairly basic one, but again, that's fine. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much where I will leave it for Sendinblue. As I say, in general, from the data that we've seen from Sendinblue users, from our own experience using it in the past, I can absolutely vouch for it from a transactional perspective. The campaigns, the automation side of things, it's good. There's nothing about it that I think is enormously unique or particularly kind of best in class. But the one thing that Sendinblue do seem to do quite well is they have this kind of everything that you would need. It's relatively affordable. As I say, the pricing is quite different to most email marketing tools. So if that per email basis is going to be more economical for you than a per contact basis, that's a good reason to go for Sendinblue. But in general, they are a really good email marketing platform. We've had really good experience with them in the past. There's just nothing kind of particularly too out of the ordinary with them. Yeah, hope that's been useful, and yeah, until next time. Cheers.